On the quiet October morning of October 26, 2019, the parishioners of St. Bartholomew's Church in the rural town of Whitmore Valley expected nothing more than a sermon. The service was ordinary at first: hymns, prayers, and the rustling of hymnals in aged wooden pews. But by 2:02 p.m., everything changed. What unfolded that day would not only shock the small congregation, but ripple far beyond the valley, leaving scars that would never fully heal. It was during his sermon that Pastor Edmund Thornfield, a man beloved in the community for decades, suddenly broke from Scripture. He set his Bible down, his hands trembling, and his voice lowered to a tone the congregation had never heard before. "Brothers and sisters," he said, "I can no longer carry this burden. The truth has weighed on me for far too long. I am guilty of a grave sin, a sin that has taken an innocent life." Gasps echoed through the pews. Some thought it was a metaphor, a spiritual confession. But it wasn't. Thornfield's next words made that painfully clear. To understand the weight of his confession, we need to go back to September 2018. Sarah Mitchell, a 24-year-old primary school teacher, had been a light in the community. She was known for her warmth, her patience with children, and her passion for teaching. In the evenings, she tutored struggling students for free, and on weekends she often volunteered at the church. On September 14th, 2018, Sarah vanished. She had last been seen leaving the school around 5 p.m. Her car was found parked near the edge of Whitmore Moor, an expanse of peat bogs and rolling fields just outside the village. Her phone, purse, and belongings were locked inside the vehicle. Despite extensive searches, no trace of her was ever found. The police scoured the moor with dogs, volunteers trudged through marshy ground, and helicopters circled overhead for days. But the bogs are treacherous, deep, shifting, and capable of concealing anything. Rumors spread. Some speculated Sarah had been abducted. Others whispered she may have left town on her own. But those who knew her rejected that idea. Sarah had no reason to run. She was deeply tied to Whitmore Valley, to her family, and to her students. The case eventually went cold. Her parents, devastated, still placed flowers on the steps of St. Bartholomew's every Sunday, praying for answers. Now, more than a year later, the answer came, but from the most unexpected source. In front of his congregation, Pastor Thornfield confessed, "I was the one who ended Sarah Mitchell's life." He explained that on the evening of September 14th, Sarah had come to the church office to discuss concerns she had about him. Thornfield didn't explain exactly what those concerns were, only that their conversation had turned into an argument. He admitted to striking her in anger. "She fell," he said, his voice cracking. "She hit her head against the stone hearth. I didn't mean to kill her, but she was gone. And in my fear, I chose cowardice." Instead of calling for help, Thornfield carried Sarah's lifeless body into his car under cover of night. He drove her to Whitmore Moor, where he buried her in one of the peat bogs, knowing the land's shifting nature would keep her hidden. "I told myself it was an accident," he whispered. "But what is an accident when followed by lies and silence? I have carried her blood on my soul every day since." The congregation sat frozen. Some wept. Others shouted at him to stop. And still, Thornfield spoke. His confession wasn't prompted by law enforcement, nor by evidence suddenly uncovered. Thornfield revealed that he had recently been diagnosed with a terminal illness. Doctors had given him only months to live. He said he could not meet death without cleansing his conscience. "I am dying," he said, "and I cannot face my Creator while hiding the truth. Sarah deserves to be found. Her family deserves to know. And I deserve to face judgment." By the time he finished, the service had turned chaotic. Parishioners fled the church in shock. Some called the police, others confronted him directly. Within hours, Thornfield was taken into custody. Police immediately reopened Sarah Mitchell's case. Thornfield led investigators to the approximate location where he said he had buried her. Search teams returned to Whitmore Moor, this time with heavy equipment, cadaver dogs, and forensic specialists. After several days of painstaking work in the bog, human remains were recovered. Forensic testing confirmed they belonged to Sarah Mitchell. The Mitchell family, while devastated, finally had the closure they had prayed for. In a statement, Sarah's mother said, "She was taken from us too soon, but now we can lay her to rest properly. No parent should ever have to bury their child, but we can at least say goodbye." In the aftermath, St. Bartholomew's became a symbol of betrayal. The church had been the heart of the community for over 150 years, a place of baptisms, weddings, and funerals. Now, it was stained by the darkest of secrets. Attendance plummeted. Parishioners couldn't bear to sit in the pews where Thornfield had confessed, nor could they listen to sermons from the pulpit where he had once preached kindness while concealing his murder. Within months, the church was closed permanently. Its windows are now boarded, the paint peels from its walls, and ivy creeps across its stone exterior. Locals say the building feels cursed, an empty shell where whispers of guilt still linger. Some believe they hear Sarah's voice in the wind that passes through its broken steeple. Others say they see Thornfield's shadow near the altar at night. Whether superstition or trauma, St. Bartholomew's has become a place of silence and decay. Due to his illness, Pastor Thornfield never stood trial in the traditional sense. He was formally charged with manslaughter and unlawful concealment of a body, but his rapidly declining health meant proceedings were short. He died in custody in early 2020, just months after his confession. He never spent a day in prison, and many felt robbed of justice. For Sarah's family, the outcome was bittersweet. They had the truth, and they had Sarah's remains, but the man responsible escaped true punishment. The Whitmore Valley confession remains one of the most shocking true crime stories in the region. It wasn't uncovered through forensic breakthroughs, nor through police investigation. It came solely because guilt finally broke a man's silence. Sarah Mitchell is remembered as a vibrant young teacher whose life was cut tragically short. Each year, her former students and family gather at the edge of Whitmore Moor to release lanterns in her memory. And St. Bartholomew's, once a beacon of community faith, now stands abandoned. Its crumbling walls a reminder of how secrets can destroy even the strongest foundations. In the end, Pastor Thornfield's words linger. "I am dying, and I cannot face my Creator while hiding the truth." His confession gave closure, but it also left behind a haunting legacy, one that Whitmore Valley will never forget.